Today we're going to talk a little bit about sound quality competition and how that is judged. Every competition can vary quite a bit and how it specifically is judged as far as what they're looking for, what boxes they're going to check. But in general, this should at least give you an idea of what to expect if you enter a vehicle into a sound quality competition. The first thing that's going to happen is the judge is going to judge your vehicle. Usually from the exterior, there's a few points they can get outside for being creative, but also having an overall nice, clean appearance. But these are not the important things. These are obvious things. Just think car show. How would I present my vehicle for a car show? Clean it up, make it look nice. Well, the first thing to note is that the judge is going to judge your vehicle from the driver's seat. What they're going to do is they're going to want you to have the ability to plug a pen drive into your stereo system. So something like this. So it would be helpful if your system has a socket for a USB drive, because most judges are going to bring their music that they've got burned in their brain on this. They're going to get into your vehicle and plug that in. Then they're going to pull up on your stereo the list of music they have to play, and they're typically going to just hit tracks. They're not going to change any of the settings on your stereo. They're going to just go through different tracks and listen to it exactly the way you have it set up. In most cases, they're also not going to move your seat. They're going to sit in the seat in a forward position to where they're as close to where you're tuning your system as possible. They're going to just skip tracks and go through the track list. If the stereo is extremely loud or extremely quiet when they get in, they'll adjust the volume to get it into a range to where they can listen to it. That's the only exception to that. They'll basically just be going through tracks, listening to it exactly the way it is whenever you have it set up. Okay. They're also going to be listening to start up and shut down noise in some cases. So whenever you start your vehicle, they're going to be listening for pop when the key comes on, pop when like that pop. They're going to be listening for that. They're going to be listening for engine noise, whine and alternator whine, any kind of hiss, any kind of noise that's playing when music is not. So that's relevant. They're going to probably turn down your blower so they can hear all these things while they're listening. And these are the things that you don't really think about. Well, also when they shut the vehicle off, they're going to be listening for powered down noises. Again, pops, whines, hisses, anything like that. But in the process of listening to the music, here's some of the things that they're listening for as well. So if you imagine you've got a concert going on outside, and you want to be sitting in the best place for that concert. Okay? Concert's over there somewhere. What they want you to experience is about 6 rows back from the front of the concert. You don't want to sound like you're sitting right up on the stage. Okay? Because for one, that's going to put your left and right stage way off to the sides. And you don't want to be sitting too far back. You want to be about 6 rows back from the stage, and have the stage, the center performer should be directly in front of you, and it should give you the illusion that that thing is always there no matter what it's doing. So if that center performer is singing a song, then no matter what note that center performer sings, or how loud they are, how quiet they are, it should always sound like that performer, that object, is dead in front of you in the center of the stage. Unless, of course, they're moving around. You should also be able to hear different instrument placements along the stage. And whenever you're looking out this way, listening to your music, you should be able to hear the center performer is, say, here, and the drummer is, say, here, and the bass guitarist is over here. And those people should all stay in the same place. Those sounds should not change throughout the music. The bass guitar guy should always come from the same spot. The positions of these instruments is important in that whole sound field. Also, what they're listening for in the vehicle is that suspends their disbelief. If you're getting that going on, everything else kind of becomes null and void, because that is the result of everything working perfectly. In a car, your left channel is going to be right here. Your right channel is going to be way over here. So what they want to happen is they want the sound coming from this area here to appear in your sound field like it's coming from outside, over here somewhere. And then this right side usually kind of takes care of itself because it's kind of far away from you. So if you think about it like that, what you're wanting to hear is the same sound from the left and from the right. You're wanting the right channel to sound like it's over here, and you want the left channel to sound like it's as far away from you as the right channel is, basically. And then you want the sound fields to be defined, the positions to be centered, and getting to this takes a lot of finesse. But this is what you're looking for. They also want the EQ to sound more or less flat. Not that you're flattened your EQ and now that's perfect. No. If you're running an RTA, after you're running an RTA right here in front of you, which is where you should be, because this is where you're trying to get the sound to, and it's going to be different over here than it is over here. But an RTA mic right here, well, it should give you, if you're playing a white noise signal, it should give you mostly a flat line. And that's after you adjust the EQ to get all the nuances right to where you can get a mostly flat white noise RTA right here. That's a kind of part of the bass tuning to get that SQ, to get that everything else working. You need that. So you don't want the bass hitting harder than the mids, and you don't want the mids getting harder than the bass, and you don't want the mids and highs to be, you want everything to feel like it's lifelike, like this is how it would sound if people were playing instruments in the parking lot. Should all be on the same playing field. So that's the very, very basics of that. Okay. Now, that's a tiny amount of explanation for a very deep subject. Hopefully that conveyed the basics of the sound positioning. So some of the other things that your judge is going to be looking at is how well the system is integrated. Okay, the other thing they're looking for is, does the system look stock, or does it look like the changes you've made are something that the factory would have done? Try to explain that. Okay, what I mean by that is, if the factory were going to put two 12-inch subwoofers in a car, how would they do it? How would they make it look? If your build looks like that, then you're on the right track. So, you look at the amplifiers, where they're placed. Is this what the factory would probably do? How would they do that? Of course, there are exceptions to this. If you want to put your amplifiers on show, the factory usually doesn't do that. But you can still do that in such a way to make it look like the factory did do that. they said, okay, we want to show these amplifiers at the factory, but how can we show them and, you know, and still do the factory thing? So if it looks like someone at the factory decided to change all these things and that's how they did it, then you're on the right track. Of course, you can also, like I said, put stuff on display with, you know, nice, neat panels, lining up everything, lining up and you know, making it look like it was intended from the start to look that way, whatever that way is. And so that's another element of what you're judged by. Also, one whole big area is basically safety. And we'll cover so that. For example, the judge may look at your wire terminations and wiring to see that it is properly secured, run in a nice safe way, getting its fusing, so that everything is going to be a safe experience for anyone in this vehicle. And they're going to be looking at cleanliness and the attention to detail on all those elements as well. Having text line up on wires and you know, logos in the correct positions and all that stuff. All that's something they look for, even though it's not necessary. They look at all those things because they show attention to detail. And whenever you're judging amazing vehicle versus amazing vehicle versus amazing vehicle, the smallest details can be the thing that has to be used to separate those. So they're looking for good wiring, super clean installation, safe, secure, you know, nothing is broken, flopping around. Again, this is not an all-inclusive lesson or anything close to that. Your judge is going to have a sheet with check boxes on it. By each check box, there's going to be a question, and the judge is going to have a number beside that question, which is, say, 1 to 3. Is this good? 1 to 3. And the judge will give you a number in that checkbox based on his answer to the question by that checkbox. Usually it's not a yes or no, black and white kind of thing. It's more of a sliding scale. And so they'll give you a number based on that. And it'll go all the way down through this multiple checklist, multiple categories. You guys can look this up on the internet too. And because it's going to vary from place to place. And then when in the end, all that score gets tallied up to give you your overall score. And where your vehicle might do well with one judge, it might not do as well with another. So, because a lot of this stuff is, you know, your opinion and the judge's opinion. And it's kind of iffy in that department. But for the most part, these are the things that the judge is looking for. Basically, and the process usually takes, for a whole car, can take 10-15 minutes a car. And that's the normal, somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes for a judge to judge a car from beginning to end, and they get out and move to the next car.